Well. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a little Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Olympians of all ages, tonight we bring you a bonus episode of your Project Athena Pulp Cthulhu. Before me, you see Olympians that you've known. Lindy will cross the streams, and one Olympian that you do not know. Not yet, anyway. Before the end of this little session, you will indeed know one honest Pete Abraham. But I'm not going to get too far into it. First, you have to know the players behind the characters. And we will start, as we always do, with Allison. Allison, take us away this fine Saturday night.
Hey everybody, it's Allison. I play Caitlin Jane O'Callahan, aviatrix extraordinaire, princess of the skies, America's flying sweetheart. I'm a little bit nervous about this tonight, Greg, just because I think there might be like political events and stuff, and Kate is just not into all the publicity. She's kind of camera shy, right? So no, she's not. She's not any of those things at all. So it's gonna be crazy.
And she likes to blow stuff up, which is kind of antisocial, but that's
Greg,
just me spitballing here.
Greg, speaking of blowing stuff up, I have instructions, very specific instructions, to say how amazing those new glasses are, and they're a little bit hipster, Dad. So I just want to kind of put that out there on behalf of maybe our resident psychic who's not able to join us tonight.
Greg, will you be my hipster dad?
Yes,
Totally
I will. I've already declared my hipster paternity for a lot of other people. So, no, and to make this, just to get rid of the hipster cred and get back my nerd cred, these are blue lens, blue light glasses. Yes. So I don't get headaches when I'm in front of so any cool hipster ideas you had in your mind, ladies, throw them out the window. I am still nerd through and through. So, right. I need to myth up the mustache here, man. We're going to save our man Pete for last as we jump over to the resident con man. We do not have our psychic with us. She is sleepy, back at Ives Esoteric and Antiquarian Bookstore. Luckily, she has one Phil Castillo to watch over her, and Dwight Burke. But, we know how Dwight gets hurt all the time. He's probably sleeping it off anyway. Let's go ahead to Strider, Saturday night. Are you ready to fight?
Oh, I certainly am. Our pilot might not be one for politics, but I certainly am. So I'm curious to see where this takes us. Gonna have a great time. I'm making up for my missed session last week, so I get double Cthulhu this week.
There you go, buddy. That's the way we like to do it here, is double Cthulhu. Because if there isn't anything worse than just Cthulhu, it's double Cthulhu. Lindy, speaking of double Cthulhu, Lindy, you're like Octo Cthulhu with as much Cthulhu as you play. But how are you doing tonight?
Tentacles. Yeah, I'm Lindy, and I'm going to be playing Greta von Kraus, a German doctor scientist who knows nothing about American politics whatsoever. She's probably going to learn a lot today, though. So she likes learning, so that's good. And also, can you be my hipster dad too, Greg?
I'm making a list. I'm checking it twice.
All
Hipster
right.
dads all around. Yes, I can definitely do that for all of you. Great, Lindy. Thank you very much. And now you've met the Olympians that you know and love. Let me introduce you to the Olympian you're going to know and love. Finney, how are you doing this fine Saturday night, my friend? And let us know a little bit about yourself, but not too much. Give him just a taste.
Just a taste. Yeah, I'm Finney. I will be playing honest Pete Abraham, the local alderman representing Greater Manhattan on the Board of Aldermen of New York City, where my two favorite places are in the lap of luxury and the soapbox.
That is all they need to know. But one other thing they need to know before we start this is, with our bonus episodes, it expands the story of Project Athena, but by no means is it safe. Finney, everybody else you see on this screen, their characters' lives are in danger during this episode as it would be during the normal storyline. There aren't any type of favors that are gifted. whenever there's an expansion of the narrative, there could be a decrease in the number of Olympians. So the shots are live. These are not rubber bullets. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to help these Olympians you see in front of you, or if you want to increase the horror, see right below at the donation section. If you subscribe to the channel, remember you do get 2 free crits to donate to anybody that you see on the screen, myself included, a month. So without all that, or put that aside, let's go back into 1933. Here we are. The Olympians have just received a phone call from one Ruby Foster, who has identified via the paper that she saw that a man standing next to FDR, and a man that she had seen much younger in a picture in her mother and father's cabin in Acadia, Maine, was there. It was somebody that her parents trusted. It's somebody that seems to be very powerful in the city of New York now. Somebody by the name of that one girl donated $8. We'll get to that in just one second. So we're going to speed this up a bit because we have a lot to get to tonight. You have found out the following, Olympians, via Kate, Greta, and Strider. You have been informed of the following. To set the stage for our Olympians when they split from the others, it will go as follows. We had removed Strider. We had removed Elijah from the narrative to make sure that he and Phil didn't cross paths, because we want that to happen when you're here. And so what ends up happening is Greta, Kate, and Elijah meet up again. They have found out that via Ruby Foster, Ruby has identified that one Pete Abraham is somebody that she knew from her parents' involvement via these pictures, but she knew him, or her parents knew him, as Dionysus. She had figured out via the report in the newspaper that there was a campaign rally at the Plaza Hotel this very evening. There was going to be dignitaries from all around the world, people of merit, people of fame. The President of the United States, FDR, was to attend. This is supposed to be the official announcement that Honest Pete Abraham would be entering or throwing his hat into the ring for the mayor of New York. This is the special party to launch all of this, and Ruby says that she will meet you there. However, you are to come dressed in your finest, because this is not the jungles of Borneo, not the temples of Bolivia, not even the scene at the Green Garden Cafe in Brooklyn. This is the Plaza Hotel. This is the refined elite in the middle of the Depression. This is where everyone comes to forget that America is sliding and not stepping up. Because in this timeline, the bad guys are winning. So we are going to start with the arrival of the Olympians as they pull up in front of the Plaza Hotel. In front of the plaza, you see armed servicemen, police officers, men that you immediately identify as not necessarily Secret Service, but part of the Bureau, as they are there to guard. You see long, stretched cars. You see a 32 Packard, a gentleman with a hat very similar to mine leaning up against it. You see people all around, drivers of note. Even the drivers themselves are dressed impeccably. Olympians, as you pull up, you exit a car. How are you dressed? And describe that to our audience.
Elijah, of course, is wearing a suit and big mirrored shades. This time the suit, rather than a maroon, is a bright white. The top, the shirt underneath, the pants, the shoes, the gloves, all of it.
Not having had a chance to do any shopping before this, Kate is wearing that same fantastic red dress that you first saw her wearing on the USS Akron, somehow miraculously cleaned and pressed and ready for the evening tonight. Red velvet, kind of a cowl neck collar that dips low, dangerously low, not quite as low as the back though, where it's cut all the way to the waist. And And she's got a new brownie camera that she's carrying with her because this seems like a place to take some really cool pictures. So she kind of steps out and stumbles just a little bit as she steps up onto the curb, but rights herself and looks around, waits for Greta to get out.
Last I recall, Greta was still in her super fancy evening wear from the night previously, but I imagine falling down like a flight of stairs probably did a bit of a number to it. So I'd like to think that she was able to go out and buy some medical supplies between this happening. And while she was out, she used some of the money that Elijah had given her and went and bought out. I was gonna make it an all white dress and ensemble. Then Strider went and wore all white, but Greta wouldn't know that. So yeah, she's in all white, just and drop waist, drop back. Again, just very attention grabbing. Hair all, and instead of her hair being completely down, it's like half pulled up, so it all trails down on one side of her shoulder. Long opera gloves, and like a little half cowl that she just got draped over the shoulder at her left arm to kind of hide the discoloration there.
Okay, excellent. So as you all exit from in front of the plaza, there is a very defined entrance into the plaza interior as people were being funneled into both the restaurant and the adjoining ballroom, as that has been set aside and decorated for this, a very illustrious announcement is going to be facing the city of New York. And as you all walk in, immediately you all are kind of separated as different people are you're brought into various lines for security purposes. We're not sure if you've heard about it, but there was an explosion on 116th Street that is apparently something terrible went down, and a building was lost up there, and there was another fire in the New York Public Library. So they're just making sure that everybody that's coming in is aware of the various exits, and that, you know, they're not carrying like TNT strapped to them and things of that nature. So as you all are going through, Greta and Kate, you are brought into a separate line that seems to be a bit longer than every one of the others. But Elijah, you are able to kind of slip through rather quickly, surprisingly, and you find yourself in the ballroom just as the trumpets sound at the orchestra and the announcement goes out. The President of the United States! And everybody stands and begins to clap in the space. Drinks and haws and smoke is everywhere in this area as the elite of New York, the elite of the surrounding area, everyone has come here to profess their passion and their strength and their support for FDR and for the man that he's come to support, Pete Abraham. And Elijah, as you look over, you see that the side doors open up in a gull wing explosion, and two men exit out. One of them is a dapper gentleman, older, in his 50s. He is carrying a cane, leaning and walking heavily with its aid. And you see that the president is appearing to aid him as they are moving towards the podium with its arrayed tables on either side of it. Roll me a spot hidden, Elijah.
Oh boy, Elijah's spot hidden. This is Tomb of Annihilation all over again, because I failed.
You see them walk up, and you see the president nod, and the gentleman beside... Finney, what does the gentleman beside the president do as they take the podium?
Pete turns to FDR and says, "Thank you for the help up here, Frankie. You know, this cold weather negatively affects my leg."
And with that, FDR nods and, kind of smiles at his friend. And for a moment, the two of them look as if they are, who should go to the podium, and they kind of, and then FDR goes, and he ushers in Pete to take the podium as FDR takes a seat of honor just to the right of the podium.
And Pete stands at the podium and he looks over the crowd. This is exactly where he loves to be. And so he begins. Friends, voters, and financiers, welcome. And please help yourself to food and drinks. It is, after all, the best money can buy. Also, let us take a moment for the lives lost in the Harlem apartment building collapse. I have assigned my associate, Mr. Edwards, to oversee the fundraising efforts for funeral arrangements, and I will personally be attending the services. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with a heavy heart that I regret to inform you I will not be seeking re-election to the Board of Aldermen. And at that point, he would.
Ooh, oh, yeah.
I know, but fear not, friends, for I do not plan to leave City Hall, but rather simply move into a larger office. That's right, folks. I, honest Pete Abraham, am running to be your New York City mayor.
And the crowd erupts as cheers of hurrah, and champagne begins to pop and flow throughout the plaza. Yep. Everybody, the dignitaries of all sizes are screaming out. You know, there's a particularly rotund gentleman, kind of thick in the middle, as he yells out, "Yeah, that's the way to do it." Elijah, you recognize this man as a baseball player of some kind.
As my first act as mayor, I will donate my salary to the restoration of the New York City Public Library. And I vow to mount a full-scale investigation to the cause. And while I cannot confirm anything, I personally suspect the German-American Bun Party. After all, it did result in the burning of books and the destruction of a priceless historical chandelier. And furthermore, those zeppelins above our fair city are an eyesore, notwithstanding the way they block many of our penthouse views. This so-called United Skies initiative that is nothing more than an abomination headed by that former Vice President Charles Curtis, a Republican, I might add, a man voted out of office along with his boss, President Hoover, replaced by none other than my good friend, Frankie Roosevelt. And he would signal for the applause. A friend and fellow Democrat. Because the people of this fair city and the nation knew it was time. So I ask you, friends, join with me and remain steadfast behind my dear friend Frankie as we stand together against the foreign invaders that seek to control our skies and our way of life. And if those swastika-wearing Jerrys want to fight, then I will battle them until hell freezes over. So those thugs and ruffians better bring their ice skates.
It's at this point that Kate and Greta finally make it into the area, and Kate and Greta, you guys enter into a space where a lot of people were already kind of seated and cheering and whatnot. So you guys are standing as you walk into the ballroom, and you see Pete and the president on the podium, you know, about 25 yards away.
Do I notice Kate?
Yes, you would definitely see her.
Oh, in that case, friends, at this time in our nation's existence, we need inspiration. And as I was inspired by the faith of Jack Parsons, I too have spent uncountable resources in search of a symbol America needs as we are clouded with the bleakness of German influence. And so my diligence has paid off as I reintroduce to you, to New York City and to the United States of America, that aviatrix extraordinaire, that princess of the skies, and our America's flying sweetheart, Miss Kate O'Callahan.
And
Come
at
on up
this,
here.
the entire space turns, and as one, there's a pause as they turn and look at Kate, and there's as it goes through, and everyone stands and cheers. Oh, you cheers, and Pete brought back Kate. As cheers go up
And
everywhere.
I'm standing right next to her, right?
Yep.
I gotta take a step back, take a couple steps back. Just stealth into the crowd, probably very poorly. Just, okay.
Kate's, I'm super confused by this. It's completely unexpected. And as soon as, in fact, really kind of not even listening until Jack Parsons' name was mentioned, at which point, boom, my eyes are right on Pete. But as the buildup goes on, Kate kind of stands up a little bit, and she looks a little bit bashful, maybe even a bit of blush on her cheeks. But for her friends who know her, it's pretty obvious that she's kind of putting it on. And so at the moment that we get that Pete calls her up, at first she's like, no, go ahead, but then starts making her way up toward the platform. And incidentally, probably also worth noting, assuming, Greg, that this is true at least, I've got a very unusual piece of jewelry on my right arm, I would imagine. Isn't that correct?
You sure do, and it is. I was just going to mention how people were saying, "Oh, is that? I don't know, what is that, Egyptian?" As you walk up with this braided snake
Fashion
bracelet ring combination, and immediately there are murmurs through the crowd as women are give me some. Where did she get it? Got that at Saks, I bet. And I was going all throughout the place, and there are boom, 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 boom as flashbulbs go off from the periphery as people were beginning to notice. Not only is this Kate O'Callahan, but this is Kate O'Callahan with the pomp and the circumstance of an American hero brought back from the dead, apparently by one honest Pete Abraham. And who's to question that? Not this guy, not this voter. Pete,
So
the
Kate,
floor is still yours. Yeah.
Kate, I'm making my way through the crowd toward the podium.
Okay,
Yeah,
so go right ahead, bud.
No, I was going to say, and Pete is totally egging on the, come on up here and say a few words, Kate.
All right. So Kate makes her way up. Tell me, are there stairs someplace, right, left, center?
Yeah, it's basically two. There's a riser, and then there are two very long tables facing the crowd. They each have 10 place settings on them. FDR is to the right of the podium. The podium is on an additional riser, so there's like a stand above everyone else. It's 2 steps, so it's not too terribly high, maybe 12 inches off the main floor.
Okay. So as I come up, I still wait at the steps for someone to kind of give me a hand up.
Pete is there.
Yeah. So as you take my hand and I step up, crowd presumably still roaring. I lean in as if to kind of whisper something personally, and I say, "Sweetheart, what'd you say your name was again?"
Honest
Just
Pete,
between the two. Okay, got it.
Honest Pete Abraham, my dear. And just so you know, we're going to get on the front page sure enough with this. And to make us even, I'll get you a parade once I'm elected.
All right then. That's right where I need to be right now. It's on the front page. And you're ushering me to the podium, presumably here?
Yes, absolutely.
And so Kate gets to the podium and waits for a moment for the applause to sort of die down. And again, for Greta and Elijah, you're just seeing this, right? This is like
I'm not looking. I am like
gasoline on a flame.
just playing. Looking
Elijah's-
for Strider. Or looking for Elijah.
Elijah's pulled Greta over and he's just mumbling under his breath. Completely pedestrian. All these techniques, all these. I swear I could be president by next week if I wanted to be.
I'm sure you could. She's also talking very lower than she normally would. And I'm going to let you do most of the talking here, as I have a feeling they would not be very friendly if they heard my accent.
This election mob might turn into a lynch mob if they do.
So she'll just stand there and look pretty, like next to. That's her job.
Kate, as you get up to the podium, FDR stands and he extends his hand, and you can see that there is an almost genuine relief in his face. Requires no roll. You can read this. He's wearing it on his sleeve. You can see that someone that you had probably followed in the papers, even this short term and tenure of these few months into his presidency, it has taken quite a toll on the man. He is lined, he is thinner. His hair seems whiter, grayer around the temples. And when he offers his hand out to you, there is a very real sense of relief that perhaps something is going his and America's way.
Mr. President, it is such an honor to finally get to meet you.
You are indeed America's flying sweetheart. I am glad, so glad to shake your hand.
And you are America's best hope for the future.
He smiles a bit and pushes his glasses back up as he presents you with the podium and sits down.
So Kate steps up to the podium and says, well, this is quite a surprise, I have to say. I didn't expect to be asked to say anything here, but I suppose I should first thank my good friend Pete for all of the work that he put into finding me, along with my friend Jack Parsons. And I'm just very, very grateful, Pete. So thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please.
Of course, Pete would stand up and take a bow and, point to various people in the crowd, and then would take a seat next to FDR.
Well, I don't have anything prepared to say, but I guess I'd just say this. I've been all over the world in these last few weeks, and I got to agree with my friend Pete. I think the greatest threat to all of us right now is these Nazis. I'd like to see nothing more than to have them out of my skies. Pauses.
Cheers everywhere. Yeah, cheers everywhere, erupt after everywhere. And you see that the particularly stocky man that's sitting in one of the tables to the front begins to bang his beer mug along the table as he stands up and he says, "These Jerry's, gotta get rid of them." And the very handsome guy next to him says, "Babe, sit down." He pulls him down and they sit back down. And
Elijah's elbowing Greta, and he's trying to hide this, not trying so hard to hide the huge smirk on his face.
She's going to just kind of like do the smile and nod, be like, yeah. Nice outfit choice, by the way. Good color.
A completely flat affect staring at you with his mirrored glasses.
She's actually going to give a smirk. Like that was a joke. The first joke she's told.
It's a good thing for me to take this moment to tell Finney, Pete, you have been granted from that one girl a boon of my choosing and another critical success, which makes 3 if you're counting. And Pete has friends in far off places. A crit from one Project Kronos Olympian to another. So that is 4 crits for Pete with a boon to come. So as basically as the speeches kind of die down, there is drinks and hors d'oeuvres are beginning to be served. But this is the moment in this type of rally and this type of party where this is the rubbing of elbows. This is the pressing of flesh as everyone stands up and begins to go about their business of being famous, being popular, and being New York. So at this point, everyone stands up, and this is free play for Greta, for Elijah, for Kate, and for Pete. There are, and I will gift you with the following knowledge, because if you read the papers at all, you would know the following people were here. And for everybody back home, I have a couple things. The two gentlemen that we talked about are none other than Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. They are both here at the bequest of Pete and in the support of Mr. Abraham, and they are ready. Also here is Primo Carnera, the current heavyweight champion of the world. A huge Italian man sitting over in the corner. And Elijah, you would know this, that his reign is pockmarked a bit because it is said that every fight he has ever fought in has been fixed. We also have a little-known person by the name of William Randolph Hearst, who is here. He is pressing flesh and talking to as many people as he can. There's also a young starlet who has become very famous for this new movie called 42nd Street, based on the Broadway show. Her name is Ginger Rogers, and she is here. In addition to that, as the people leave the podium and step down, a beautiful woman takes to the stage and she begins to sing, her voice perfect. She is 3 months away from being discovered and becoming one of the voices of America, and it is none other than Billie Holiday as she takes to the stage and begins to sing. Of course, we also have FDR there, and that's about all I can fit on my screen, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is New York City in 1933. And while there are stars shining very bright in the Plaza Ballroom, none shine brighter than our 4 Olympians. You may do what you will, kids.
Elijah's spending the entire evening waiting to try to spy some moment to get Pete alone, or at least to bring over Greta and Kate to try to talk to him. Not away. He's not going to let that happen, but maybe pull him into our little circle.
I guess Greta will keep an eye out for Ruby. We were supposed to meet her here.
Yep, you can roll a spot hidden for me, and I'll let you know if you see anything in the...
Success!
Yeah, you're able to identify quite a bit. There are just innumerable wealthy people here. Barbara Hutton, who is the heiress of the Woolworth fortune. Just a ton of people that are here. None of them appear to be Ruby Foster. And unfortunately, with the exception of Billie Holiday, who's singing, the reason why you're able to identify this is because this crowd is very, very white. And as you look through there, Ruby Foster is nowhere to be seen, as this is 1933.
Okay.
As soon as I had the opportunity to have another sort of private conversation with Pete, I would have said, Pete, I think you and I have a friend in common. In fact, that's why we came here tonight. You might know our friend Ruby Foster.
With acting like he didn't even acknowledge that you had said anything, he would quickly reach into his pocket and give you a Vote Pete pin. And then he would also wave a $10 bill and try to call over some additional photographer so that we can get a picture taken together.
Okay, Kate gets this, right? So she actually, rather than take the pin, she actually kind of puts her shoulders back and, leans forward for him to pin it on the collar of her dress himself for the pictures.
At which point, yeah, absolutely, Pete would lean in, and you can definitely, because Pete's a tall guy. He's about 6'3", kind of a large stomach, a bit of a sloop shoulder from carrying all the burden and concerns of his dedicated following and the voters of New York City. But you definitely can get the smell of heavy pomade to keep his hair flat, and it is definitely, and you can tell that his hair is dyed a darker color than what it naturally would flow to. And he would go about pinning it on and lean in to kiss your hand as the picture is being taken.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Yep. Kate knows the drill.
And then actually hearing what you had said, he would kind of go over in his head, Ruby Foster. Name doesn't ring a bell. Is she a registered voter?
Doesn't ring a bell, you say? Well, no, she's not a registered voter. I don't think she's old enough for that. Well, of course, I don't think. There's that whole time jumping thing. But anyway, she said something about you knew her parents. But
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just, Greg, I'm trying to remember if part of the information that Ruby gave us was the names of her parents.
She did not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Damn it.
So Pete would reply that Miss O'Callahan, I'm a New York City politician. It is my job to know people and to be in photographs with them. I couldn't possibly remember a single incident.
Well, maybe you've seen her around here this evening because she told me she was going to be here. She's a like I said, she's a young girl. I don't know, 17 or 18 or something like that. She's black and she's real pretty. But you haven't seen her, have you?
And I mean no offense, Miss O'Callahan, but that would sort of stand out in a event such as this.
Well, yeah, I suppose it would. All right then. Well, Mr. Abraham, I would love to have a conversation with you sometime about all of that work that you put into finding me, and all of that investment that you made, but I got to look for my friend, I think.
Completely understand, Miss Callahan. I'll be here and I'll be around. You can absolutely find me.
And Kate's already her attention's already drifted, and I'm looking in the crowd now for Greta and Elijah.
The two smartly dressed people.
Back corner.
Yeah, smart people dressed in white, really kind of just hanging back, observing everything. Maybe we've got like a little tray of hors d'oeuvres. We're just kind of.
Yep, they're in the back.
Since our sniper's not here, I'm gonna do the occasional Nazi check, which I failed.
Yep, no Nazis.
Am I able to see where they are?
Yeah, you can identify them. They're not hiding. You can see them in the back. They're both dressed brightly, so they're able to be found.
All right, so I'm going to start heading back that way, and I'm assuming that that's going to be easier said than done, though. That people are going to stop and want to chat and that sort of thing.
I was just going to tell you that you are getting stopped innumerable times, people shaking your hand, men, women coming in to hug you and, pressing, I read all your article. I'm so glad. Oh, it's amazing. A miracle, people are saying. And as you're getting close, you see that the big gentleman that seems to be very talkative, that is Babe Ruth, you see him talking to his table and everyone's laughing and there are empty glasses everywhere as if the Babe is not allowing any of the servers to clear them, to speak of a conquest not on the baseball diamond but on the plaza table, as he is arrayed with glasses that have fallen before the great one. And as you walk up, you hear him say, and that's when Lou told me, hey, this isn't the restroom, babe. This is the dugout. Ah! Everybody starts laughing. And somebody, the man identified as Lou Gehrig, he stands up and he comes over to Kate and he says, Miss O'Callahan, it's good for the country that you're here. You know, the babe would say that he's the only one that America needs, but I think I might disagree. And he puts his hand out.
Take his hand. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you so much. And she's just obviously very distracted and trying to kind of get away, cognizant of it might even be a little bit rude, but she's got a mission on her mind.
Right. Thank you. Pardon me. Thank you. That type of thing. Right.
Yeah.
And as you're moving through, Greta, Elijah, and Pete, you see that she is kind of being funneled between these tables, and she backing up and advancing towards Greta and Elijah. It's very difficult. She's being stopped left and right. And Pete, you notice all of this as well as you're up there, pressing the flesh of the well-to-do of New York. And Pete, that's when you notice through the same door that you and FDR entered, there's a loud commotion, as if somebody has just dropped a tray or a silver tray. There's not a shattering of glass per se. It's that awful sound of almost like a cymbal being dropped on a tile floor, as you get that whoa, 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 and the door flies open, and Pete, you see an attractive young African American girl run in. She is dressed like one of the staff, but she is being trailed by what can only various members of the security force. One in a uniformed military garb, two in just straight suits, as they are coming in and they're putting their hands. And as soon as she locks eyes with you, Pete, she says, Mr. Abraham, my parents need you.
At that point, Pete would probably kind of wave away the people who are kind of holding her up, and would probably look over to Miss O'Callahan relatively quickly, because this person seems to fit the description that he was provided, and he would go over and, in a smooth talking style, simply try to kind of calm her down first, like miss, and try to kind of shuffle her over to the direction that it appeared Kate was attempting to go in. And I would also like to do a spot hidden to see if I can notice my associate, Mr. Edwards.
Sure, absolutely. Go right ahead. Yeah, as you roll a spot hidden, you see back in the far corner, your driver, Mr. Edwards, is standing back there, his hat pulled very low, and he nods to you as you make loose eye contact with him.
Yeah, and I would attempt to indicate over to Miss O'Callahan, and kind of like a quick, the two of them have known each other for quite some time, so just kind of her over into that area in the ballroom.
Edwards nods and begins to move over. Greta and Elijah, you both see this as well, and you see Ruby. Pete, this is what you see too. Even though you wave off the security, several of these security forces belong to the president, and they don't seem to be responding to your commands. I would like you to roll either a fast talk or a persuasion to see how many of these guys, or if all of these guys, let up. They all have their hands on Ruby right now, as she was able to basically just burst in, cause a bit of a scene, and get that line out.
All right, I will go for a persuasion, also doing a quick look over to FDR.
Right. As they all kind of stop for a second, and they look, and all of them but one drops their arms. One of them continues to kind of control her. They have her by the shoulder and by the elbow, ready to grab and take her out. At this point, Edwards, the driver and servant of Pete, gets over to Kate, and with his head down, he begins kind of moving people gently out of the way, and he gets over, and Babe and Lou Gehrig are standing there, and he comes up and he goes, "Hey, how you doing, boys? Big fan. I love baseball, but I need Miss O'Callahan, please." As he, offers Miss O'Callahan his arm and begins to pull her through the crowd. The crowd has been standing and milling about a bit, and they are it's a dense crowd. So you guys are making your way through there. Greta and Elijah, what are you guys doing?
Elijah definitely perked up when the huge ruckus occurred and Ruby burst into the room. He's seeing all the people around Kate and gonna try to use that to go around her, weasel his way through the crowd, and get closer to the action, see where they're gonna take her and try to trail her.
Yeah. Oh, Greta will follow Elijah. She's gonna let him part the crowd, kind of just smile and nod. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you guys are making your way kind of around the periphery to where she's come through. And Kate, You're kind of in the middle of everything. Edwards has come over. You guys are going through the crowd. People are kind of paying a little bit of attention, but now that Pete's in close proximity and FDR's kind of put his hand up, no one's really worried that there's an incident here. So they've gone back to talking and drinking and smoking and clapping Kate on the back and, just stop. Oh, Kate, as you guys are going by. Billy has continued to sing up on the stage. Pete, you have a moment here with Ruby before everyone else gets up. And as you close, Ruby says, "Mr. Abraham, you know my parents. They're in terrible trouble. Only you can help them."
Pete would look at the young lady, and there's a moment there where he's thinking, he's trying to recall back over the years to try to think if he knows of someone that may have been the parents of this girl, and would lean in and would softly say, "Let's see what we can do for you," and would kind of put his arm around her, and then leaning heavily on the cane would attempt to kind of escort her over to the table.
As soon as he gets close to Ruby, her eyes lock onto Pete's as he says, "Let's see what we can do for you." And she says, "I'm sorry, Mr. Abraham." And she reaches up and she grabs him around the throat. And Pete, you feel a surge of energy go through you. And a purple veil creeps over your eyes as everything in the entire place just seems to have been doused in some type of purple fluid, or even if the air itself has been painted. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
We can do that. Let's see.
Yep, Okay, you can spend 5 luck. You have an allotment of 30 for this, so you can...
Well, Pete's a lucky guy, so let's spend it.
Okay, so you spend the luck, and as you are sitting there, you're able to kind of force away this feeling of nausea that kind of assaults your senses. And as she looks, you stop for a minute and you realize that your body feels different, but not in a bad way, just in a memory, as your body remembers what it's like not to have that pain in your leg, as whatever Ruby did has alleviated at least 50% of the discomfort that you've had in your leg that you use for the cane. And at the same time, that purple light begins to fade. And she looks, and at this point, they see that she's done something to you, and they begin pulling her back and pulling her away. And she says, Mr. Abraham, I'm sorry, but they're coming. You're the only one that can get my parents.
Wow. Oh man. That's well, obviously, which has been completely one of the first times it's ever happened. Pete drops his cigar, like in just the utter amazement and chaos is what just transpired, and would immediately kind of snap over to one of the servers to kind of pick the cigar up, and would reach into his pocket, pull out another one, and pull out a cigar cutter, and would trim the end off, and would just kind of hold it in his hand for a moment, and then it would walk over and immediately persuade or fast talk to tell the people that it's okay. I need to speak with this girl.
This will be a fast talk, and it's going to be a hard because this girl's proven to be at the very least a disturbance here. So you're going to need a hard. I will remind you have crits as well from the.
Let's burn them.
Okay, and at this point, I will remind you, or I will let you know of 2 additional crits that come from the Great Purple Beyond, as the father of the girl that you are attempting to aid is sending you power, as one Barney has made sure that should his friend ever rise to the aid of his child, he would receive 2 crits. And so, the 2 crits are yours, my friend. So in burning one of those, you are able to go over, and again they back off, perhaps in conjunction with the words from Pete and another maybe wave from FDR, as at this point, Elijah, Greta, Kate, you all converge on the scene as you are standing there with Pete and with Ruby. The Secret Service or the Bureau guys that are there are still very close, and one of them leans forward and says, "So we're going to have to move her out of this area. You can talk to her for a couple moments, but I think it's in everyone's best interest that we're not going to arrest her. We're just going to take her out of here." And she looks at all of you as she comes up, and as Kate comes up, and as Greta comes up, and especially as Elijah comes up. She says, "They're lost. They're lost. We have to find them. They're gonna die like you all. He took your place."
Yeah, if I could, I would again attempting to console the obviously upset young lady who has, relieved Pete from this horrible pain in his leg, especially given the unusual cold that has taken over New York City, and would simply ask your parents' names.
I don't want to say, but you know them. They're like you. They're gods.
Are Kate Miss O'Callahan and her associates, are they now in this circle?
Yeah, I was about to ask if we heard that.
You did. Everyone heard it.
So it would be at this point that Pete would take a long inhale from his cigar and let out just a huge billow of horribly smelling cigar smoke, and would turn and would ask one question. Where is Jack Kilgrave?
It is at that moment that the voice of Billie Holiday, the cheers and the tall tales of Babe Ruth, the general rush of the entire place freezes as everyone in the Plaza Hotel locks in place. I would like everybody on my screen to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
I rolled a 99.
I'm gonna crit that one. I have a good con, but I have a bad feeling about this. So I'm gonna.
I also have a bad feeling about this, so I'm going to use my one advantage that I have left on this.
Okay.
I'm going to follow the polling here. I will also
Jesus.
use I'm going to use my one of my crits on this.
I still
Gotcha.
failed.
Okay, whether you failed or succeeded, those of you that critted, everyone, you feel your muscles lock and freeze. However, you are still aware. You can still move your eyes. And you see Ruby as she looks and sees that Pete is frozen. Kate is frozen. She sees Elijah frozen. She sees Greta frozen. And you see that she is not. And she pulls free of the grip of the bureau agent who is standing there completely frozen. And she comes up to the three of you as if she's kind of sneaking down below your shoulder lines to give her the most cover. And she says, "They're coming." And then she looks up at Pete and she says, "I'm sorry I had to do that, but you've never been there." And as she creeps back, you see her sneak out the side door from which she entered. And in your minds, Greta, Elijah, Kate, and now Pete, you hear a voice. And while it's not a voice that you recognize, it's a voice that you know. Not as a definitive language, not as a speaker of the English tone of consonants and syllables and vowels. It is an undercurrent that you experienced for 4 long months. And Pete, you've never known this, but it feels as if you did. It feels as if you too floated in some type of purple nothing, a nowhere. But instead of a hum begins to speak. And it says, "You are my children. They wish to rape me. They wish to use me as a flea would a dog. They're coming. If you help me, I will give you back the 2 that are inside me." Everyone roll sanity checks for me.
Oh, okay.
I'll crit the sanity check.
I'm going to use a crit because Elijah can't
Oh.
pass sanity checks.
Now you've got me wondering if I should use a crit. Can I use advantage on a sanity check? Yeah? Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to roll it. Let's go. Let's see what happens.
Okay, I got a success. Cool. I'm below 90 now. I'm nervous. Finally nervous. Whew. Ooh, he's fine.
Okay, so everybody either critted or succeeded on all of that. Okay, everybody that passed, take 1 sanity loss regardless. As the voice that reverberates in your skull is so foreign, so cosmic, so elder, that even though you have shielded your minds from the totality of its influence, it is not without some slight cost. As you are all standing there, you are continue to be locked in a position, but slowly feeling begins to return to your bodies as if you had a leg or a limb that had been pinched beneath something that had fallen asleep but is now awakening again. But you are still frozen in place. And it is at that moment that you realize several figures that are moving through the crowd. dipping between shoulders, sliding around frozen dancers as they are moving towards two people, FDR and Honest Pete Abraham. In all of their hands, 4 in total, are accessories and jewelry very similar to the fashionable Kate O'Callahan. And as they get closer and as they begin to move towards FDR, this sideways glance, everyone roll a spot hidden for me.
That's an extreme for Kate.
Extreme for Greta.
Failed.
Okay.
We don't spot things. We talk to people.
Right. The silver-tongued devils are focused on that sense, while the scientist and the pilot rely on their eyes. And Greta and Kate, you see the following. As they move, where there would normally be the blink of a human, you see the sideways blink of someone that may or may not be reptilian in origin. I'd like you guys to roll sanity checks for discovering that fun little fact.
Just me and Kate.
That's another extreme for me.
Yeah, Kate's
That's a
dialed in,
hard-
guy. Yeah, Kate and Greta are dialed in. Everybody watch out.
Fascinated
Okay.
again. Reptiles are different than bugs. I've operated on reptiles, it's bugs, different story.
Right. Okay, so for those of you that are sitting there as one, even those that failed their constitution checks, you are coming around. It does appear that you are the only 4 that are capable of movement of any kind, as Ruby has quit the space. 2 of the men are coming towards Pete. Their weapons are being brought up to bear, and 2 are heading towards FDR. Olympians. All 4 Olympians. What would you like to do?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I guess it is. Pete, what do you got, my friend?
Well, this is definitely a nightmare for Pete. He is not he's not a field guy anymore. Greg, would I have
Yes.
my
Yes.
New York Police Department endorsement on me?
You would. You absolutely
Okay.
would. Always.
Okay, perfect. Then, so slowly, Pete would reach in and pull out a beautiful, never fired, 32 or 38 revolver, like a policeman special, with a beautiful inlaid pearl handle with a PA engraved onto the handle, and on the barrel it simply says "straight shooter." And seeing the weapons, I would raise the firearm and prepare to fire.
And Pete, if you could, how did Pete get such a fine weapon?
It was during an endorsement by the New York City Police Department shortly after he had secured them a raise, and it was a lot of pomp and circumstance, as Pete actually purchased the weapon for himself and had the commissioner of the police department give it to him as a gift so that he could be in the papers.
Absolutely. Roll a firearm shot for me, buddy, down underneath the weapons.
I believe I could use a crit on this. Is that correct?
You absolutely could. And go ahead and roll it, and we will take the damage and double it whenever it comes through. We'll ignore the actual shot and just take damage for this one. Okay, so
That max damage, though.
as Pete pulls out his gun and fires for a mouth-watering, dare I say, Dwight Burke-esque 28 damage, he fires and absolutely canoes the head of one of these people that are advancing on him. And as soon as the shot rings out and this head splits north and south and the creature rocks back, its arms spread wide in a Jesus Christ pose as it falls back, the other one's eyes go wide, and if there was any doubt that there was a reptilian influence in these creatures, it is now gone. Elijah and Pete, sanity rolls for this as well, please, as they begin to duck behind people. But I'm going to have the other Olympians move as soon as you guys roll your...
Can you stop that? The
What?
whole sanity check thing? Like,
Seriously.
No. Never.
I expect
we just need to talk
absolutely
more.
everything.
Elijah, we just need to talk more, and I'll help you. It's
3.
Get out of
3,
here.
Elijah, as you...
No. No.
Please. will you please? Okay, so as you are all standing there, I need reactions from Greta, Kate, and Elijah in that order as you guys are coming out of this Constitution check, please.
Can I pretend to still be frozen until one of them comes close enough for me to melee?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Why don't you roll a... what would be the best thing here to roll?
I think it would be best not to roll at all, frankly.
Like a con.
Is that what you think?
Like,
Yeah.
Just a straight success.
Stay still.
I tell you what. Roll a straight... Let's do appearance. Because that seems fitting. If you can
God.
stay, keep yourself...
I'm not pretty. I mean, she's pretty. It's just that arm really took away from that appearance stat. Okay, I should.
Well, I tell you what, I will allow you to do appearance or dexterity because it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be remain
We're
frozen.
gonna go with Dex.
Okay, let's do dex then.
That's a hard success. That Dex
Well, you'd
is
have
about
passed.
twice of the appearance. So
Well, you would have passed your appearance one too with a 19.
I would have.
So
I would have.
as the
I'll just
shots ring out
pretty.
and Pete canoes the head of somebody, Greta remains perfectly frozen in the same position.
Now I could be ready to pull out my hypo and stick somebody if I need be, but I am playing still, playing frozen.
Okay, great. You're frozen. Next up, let's go.
How many are within range for me and my sneaky little friend?
Technically, you can get the one that's closest. The other one that was coming for Pete could get 3, but the other 2 that are going for FDR are outside of your fan the hammer range. So you could only have 2 shots, however you wanted to allocate those.
Can I move into range?
As soon as you move into range, yes, but you will be revealing early that you can move. So
Yeah, I'm
the
good with
element
that.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
so you're
You
going.
knew I'd be
wanna-
good with that.
Are you going to get closer to the FDR ones or to...
To the FDR ones. Yeah, Pete looks like he can take care of himself.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna move however I need to move to get between the president and those other 2. And then
Okay. I'm going to say that you can't get between the president and them, but you can definitely run parallel to them. So you kind of pull up beside them as they are making their way through the crowd. Now, shots through the crowd here, kids, are going to be a little bit tough, as I'm going to require hard rolls or better to make your shot. A success that is not hard or extreme doesn't mean you shoot somebody, but a failure could mean that you clip someone. So there's a ton of people that are frozen in place here. You're shooting amongst a sea of statues. So
okay. So I'll crit the first shot, and that's my last crit. Chat, that's my last crit. Want to make sure you're hearing that. That's my last crit. I'll crit the first shot, and then go from there. How's that sound?
okay, roll that, and just we'll double the damage as it comes through.
Okay.
Okay, so 18, and as the patented Cato Callahan make you disappear from the shoulders up move, you're able to absolutely shoot between Lou Gehrig and the frozen Babe Ruth, taking the tip of Babe's cigar cleanly down the middle as you evaporate the head of one of these reptilian people, and they clatter to the ground as the other one turns towards you. You have 2 more shots on this one, should you elect to do so.
There's the first one, extreme.
We double that as well for 10 as Cato Callahan is drilled in. It takes the person in right below in the armpit area. It seems to render the left arm at least bound, if not useless, but the creature, the person, is still up.
I'll take the second shot then.
Okay, and as this shot fires off, it doesn't do a tremendous amount of damage, but you do see it burn through the bare shoulder of the heiress Barbara Hutton, who is frozen in place about 10 feet beyond the shot that you meant.
At least you rolled minimum damage.
Right? Yeah, it could have been her arm drops to the ground, but it was just a burn. So as you kind of sit there, the person rounds, and in an eerie sense of deja vu, Kate, you see the person raise an identical serpent gun towards you. Elijah, what would you like to do, my friend?
Let's see. There's one closer to me, right? Like there's one within kind of close range, and the 2 are further away.
Well, yeah, there were 2. Kate took out 1. Kate has 1 that's going for FDR. There's still 1 that's fresh that is going after Pete.
I'll break out the 32 in his sleeve. It is also a fantastic gun, but just a tad bit smaller than Pete's. That is only a normal success for the first shot.
Okay, for 2, you're able to kind of fire your shot in, and as your shot hits, you're able to see it kind of just, bounce around the hip area a bit. It doesn't seem that it really grabbed, though, when it went through.
I'll shoot him again. No, I won't.
Okay, after this second shot kind of ricochets and goes out, you see Primo, the heavyweight boxing champ, as he is frozen in place. This shot takes him directly in the calf. It pierces out through his right calf and embeds itself somewhere behind his right knee. So you're not real sure, as blood begins to pour from the legs of the heavyweight boxing champion, just how badly this is, as he doesn't seem to be reacting from it, as he is frozen.
We're gonna unfreeze and everyone's gonna be like, where did all these bullet holes come from?
I'm gonna take my last shot and still try to shoot the guy.
Gotcha.
Hard success for 9 damage.
Nice. So as this shot comes through, it again hits, and as the creature is standing there, it turns and brings to bear the serpent gun. And so we will now go to them, as each of them have a shot. One of them is taking a shot at Kate. One of them is taking a shot at Pete. I will let you know that should you elect, you can dodge from these shots, but that would forfeit your next action, as you are kind of dodging and getting the hell out of the way. What would you guys like to do before we see who shoots?
I do so elect.
You do so elect? Yeah, learned your lesson from Bolivia. Okay. Well, not that I gave you a chance, but okay, so let's do Kate first. Kate, roll me your dodge then.
Alrighty. Success.
Okay. So as the serpent gun of the enemy fires at Kate, it zips through the air and Kate dodges out of the way. I will roll theirs just to see it. Nope, doesn't come anywhere close to you as it zips past. Pete, what would you like to do, my friend?
Well, Pete, being the brave individual that he is, and having successfully fired straight shooter, I will attempt to dodge. However, this is probably not going to go well, but we'll see what the dice say. Oh.
Okay, so perhaps it is not having that full strength back in your leg that actually gets in your way this time, as you kind of turn and you begin to move. And I will say this right now, as Clay, You can absolutely donate your crits. Just tell me in chat who you would like to donate them to. You have 2. It can be 2 to 1, 1 to 2 people, however you want to do it, my friend. So with that going through, he turns and levels his shot. Oh, as he takes it. And oops, there we go. And as 2 damage, as Pete kind of stumbled out of the way, he takes a shot and it kind of glances by right around. If it was just a few years earlier and he was not quite as thick in the middle as he is now, it would have missed. But with that extra couple half inches around the middle, just caught it and just rutted a bit right along the side, just beneath the ribs, around liver area, which is a vital organ for Pete. So, Dionysus. So as you guys are sitting there, we will go back up to the top of the round. I never let my people fan the hammer because it would kill everyone. We will go back up. Pete, you have elected to dodge but failed. Kate, you dodged and succeeded. So that means we go directly to Greta. Greta, you are frozen. And at this point, the person that just shot at Pete is standing beside you.
I would love to pull out. Let's see. I don't think that these guys are worth a high post range. I only have 2 left, and I've been able to make more. But being a doctor, I assume I have a scalpel or some really sharp medical scissors just chilling in my medical bag, and I would like to stab him in the jugular, please.
Okay, so this person has no clue that you're able to move. So I'm going to allow you to roll this with advantage, as this is the textbook definition of a sneak attack. And go ahead and do you have a knife attack, or just roll me an unarmed and we'll do this?
I have fighting brawl. I don't have a knife attack in my inventory.
Okay, then just do unarmed brawl and we'll make up the damage when we need to.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, and roll me a D8, and I will let you take whatever pops up from that.
7.
So as the creature fires
and jugular.
Pete, this is what you would see as you kind of stumble a bit as it bites into your side. All of a sudden, you see Greta, this woman that really hasn't introduced herself yet, just jam some type of medical instrument into the neck of the creature that just hit you, with blood just absolutely spraying out in a vapor-fed puff as it just kind of settles along all these people frozen in dance poses as the blood just settles down, covering glasses, extinguishing a cigar as it just mists and settles over this entire area. Elijah, there is 1 person left. They are moving towards FDR. Kate is rolling in cover. What would you like to do?
Pray that his shooting is back to where it used to be.
Sounds good.
With a normal success? Did you say that was going to be a miss at this range?
At this range, I'll tell you what I'm going to have you do. Because at this point, you've cleared out a bit around them. Roll me a luck roll, and we'll see. We'll see if
that's
this
one
goes...
thing Elijah can do. Failed.
Oh, no. Would you like to use luck points to make the luck roll succeed? No.
You can't do that. But in any case, so the shot goes, it doesn't hit anybody, but it does not hit the person that you aimed at. You are a bit out of range, but you have 1 more shot should you wish to take it, Elijah. And also, I should say that Clay has given 2 crits to Pete. So Pete, you have an additional 2. The voters are out in force, Pete. They are, there's lines everywhere. They are making their wishes known.
Vote early and often, chat. Come on.
Elijah's bullets are flying into the ether with no rhyme or reason or aim taken.
Okay, well, again, let's roll another luck roll. And let's see.
Ooh.
Okay, so with this shot, this shot actually hits the hand of the creature. And I tell you what, You roll me one more luck roll, and I'll let it be the hand that's holding the serpent gun. It ain't. It's the other one. It's the left hand. It's the one that was going to give you the finger and still does because the shot didn't take it too bad. So as it turns, as it looks, and it levels its gun at Elijah, you may duck, dodge, or stay and fight
Dip.
and hope.
Dive.
And roll.
and dive and
rattle
dodge,
and roll.
You can do whatever you want. So if you want to dodge, dodge it. If you want to stand fast and be able to attack next round, do that. But whatever you want to do, my friend. As it is
I'll take too long thinking about it and just wind up getting shot either way.
Okay. All right. The shot goes wide and misses. This one hits some poor waiter, severing his foot. He remains standing for a moment, but then the ankle and the lower calf slip as he topples to the ground. No cries of anything, but the serpent gun has done its deed. As we go back to the top of the round, Pete, you have dodged, you have been shot, you have seen a woman stab something in the neck with something, and you have a shot on the one that's going for your buddy Frankie, if you decide to take it, or any other action that you so desire.
Well, looking at doing a quick look to the young lady who took out the one that was with the move, would definitely do like a polite kind of head nod.
She will smile and nod.
Perfect. And then there would probably be like a moment for Pete where it's kind of like, not this, like, again, why again? And I will, once again, in the hopes that the endorsement of the New York City Police Department pays out, I will use one of my crits.
Okay, so roll your handgun and we will just double the damage as it comes in. Doesn't matter if it's a hit or not, it is a success because of the crit. It's extreme anyway. So, again, somewhere, Dwight Burke is nodding in approval. Somewhere, Elijah Sawyer, the true sniper, is nodding in approval as the shot rings out in the Plaza Hotel. And again, a canoe is formed here in the driest of docks, the Plaza Hotel, as one honest Pete Abraham ends the life of this creature. They all drop. You're all out of action, but everybody is still frozen. What would you like to do, Olympians?
Can I get my medical implement back from his throat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Instantly throwing themselves at the dead bodies, seeing if he can retrieve these snake gun like
100% same. Trying to confiscate those serpent guns.
Okay, anybody declare that action if you were going after a serpent gun. So we have Elijah going after a serpent gun from one of the fallen, Kate going after the serpent gun of one of the fallen, Greta, yes, no?
No.
Pete,
Greta
yes,
is going to
no.
pull out her medical instrument, and then she did see that Pete got shot, so she's just going to wordlessly open up her medical bag again, kind of pull out some gauze, and just start first aiding him.
Okay, Elijah, roll me a strength check for me, please.
Oh yes, strength. Elijah's strong, so strong that it's like he gets a natural crit on this.
You're going to use one? Or do you have
This
one?
seems important. I want a weapon that can hurt things.
Okay, so as you reach down and grab hold of the snake gun, both of the heads go to bite into your hand, and you're able to kind of get your fingers around the throats of these two as you pull it off. And as you pull it off, the pink tan flesh of the skin peels away as the tails are dragging in the forearm, revealing the scales of green and gray beneath this covering that is currently on this creature. As soon as you pull it off, the creature begins to smoke.
The same thing
Kate.
happened to me last time I had a hangnail.
Right. Kate, I'd like you to roll a Constitution check whenever you reach for yours.
I really should have taken more points here. I'll take the success.
Okay, Kate, as you reach for it, the two heads of the serpent gun that you currently wield sink into your fingers. And as soon as they bite into you, it doesn't cause pain, or doesn't cause damage. It causes pain, and for a moment, your body freezes very similar to how it did when the events of this started. And for a moment, you're just frozen there as you see the creature in front of you begin to smoke. Greta, what would you like to do?
Yeah, I was gonna do that first aid check, but if upon thinking about it more, she saw reptile people. She's gonna want to look at the body of one of these guys. She's gonna want to look at a corpse.
Sure,
With
absolutely.
vivid interest. You know what? She just cut one up. She just pulled her like scalpel out of one's neck. She's just gonna keep cutting. Just whoop. Just start an autopsy. Right there. I know what she can real fast.
I'll tell you this. Roll a medicine check for me, and I'll let you
Okay.
know what you get.
Okay. Hard success.
Okay, a hard success. I will tell you this. You are able to tell me what you want from the neck up, and I'll let you get it.
From the neck up?
Yep.
Do I just have another reptile head in my purse? Is that what I just heard?
You can't have the whole head.
I had a head in my purse earlier.
You're not like a living guillotine, but you can take
Okay.
something from the neck up. Yeah.
She'll take eyes. She'll check to see if the tongue is forked. If it is, she'll take that, and then she's gonna crack that skull, get a little bit of that juicy brain tissue.
I will allow you to get brain tissue or the other three things. I won't let you get all of that stuff. The brain's going to take you a second to get into.
Oh, we'll go for the brain. That's usually where all the best stuff is.
Okay,
It's all sorts of hormonal levels and stuff with the brain.
Luckily, Greta, you find a way to get into the brain.
You said it's a tile floor, right?
Oh yeah, I'm assuming you're going to crack it like an egg. But what I'm saying is, this is a head that doesn't necessarily have the same type of bone structure as a skull, a human skull. So as the plates begin to shift a bit, you're able to kind of get your way under there. You're able to retrieve a sizable amount of brain tissue as it begins to smoke. Pete, what would you like to do, my friend?
Pete
will
will
apologize for the morbid image.
Pete will definitely like put his hand over where he had been shot with the serpent gun, and would probably kind of stagger his way over so that he can heavily lean on one of the tables in the nearby area, and being Dionysus, I would immediately attempt to pick up whatever numbing agent had been poured and was available in a glass on the table.
Why don't you roll
and would be uttering, I left.
Roll a luck roll for me.
Let's see here, that's not too bad.
What is Pete's favorite drink?
Oh boy. I think we have to go with whiskey.
It seems as if it had just been delivered by the poor waiter who is now 1 foot down, but it is full, it is 4 fingers, and it appears to be single malt Highlands. I mean, it's just perfect. It's right there waiting. Yeah. Action is spent dulling the senses and making sure the liver is right where you wanted it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, Olympians, you are out of round here. Everyone seems frozen. There seems to be some movement beginning in the periphery. Would you like to stay, or are you intending to leave before?
Well, Elijah's intentions are to get another one of these snake guns for Dwight because he was not fortunate enough to come here and get one himself. And then he's going to leave if he could see which exit Ruby left out of. Probably that one.
Okay. I will allow you to take one more strength check as you move to one of the other ones by FDR, or one of the ones that had not been approached yet. And if you would like to do so, you may try to wrest it free from the dead man's grasp.
Okay, I'm gonna tell Dwight that he owes me. I'll use another crit because I don't want to mess this up.
Again, you pull it, revealing the scales beneath as that creature begins to smoke. To speed this up a bit, 30 seconds later, there are literally empty suits that are lying there. But I would like you all to roll spot hiddens for me, please, as you are watching these creatures dissolve.
Is my brain shrunk okay?
No, your
Yeah.
brain is fine.
Oh, God.
97, Greg.
What a success!
Yes.
Okay, as Pete has performed the best, I believe. Yeah, Pete, as you are watching, you're drinking, and even maybe through the glass, as you're watching these things, the suits kind of shrink and, just turn into empty suits. You notice that as they're sinking and as the flesh burns away and you see the scales beneath it, you see a brand that appears to be an eye. It looks very Egyptian, almost in its make. And I'd like you to roll an intelligence check for me, please, Pete. Go, hard success. Pete, you know this as a variation of one of your campaign contributors. This is the caduceus symbol of the charitable organization that resides in the Meadham building. And as you all watch the rest of this sink and go away, you do realize that there are several wallets that are left among these kind of burnt and torn suits. And that is it. Other than the snake guns have burned away, the suits have burn marks on them. The two that were retrieved by Elijah maintain. The brain matter maintains. But only thing that's left there are burned suits and very pristine looking wallets.
I would probably, like, still being in pain and not really one for fast movement, having noticed it, I would probably point and make reference to the wallets.
I'll stick
Elijah's
my
trying to leave as quickly as possible, so he's not going to go for any of them.
Okay.
Stick my brain in a glass, an empty glass, put it in my purse, and grab a wallet and go.
What is the current condition of Mr. Edwards?
He's coming around. He seems to be coming around a little bit faster than everybody else. Strange,
sure
that
he is.
one.
Pete would speak up and would indicate that we can take my car.
And a couple of seconds later, Mr. Edwards says, "Yeah, I'll bring it right around. So yeah, I get it. And he slips out the front.
Kate's looking for the president, and kind of moving in that direction as he begins to recover from the paralysis.
Again, FDR seems to come around quicker than the others as well. He is, if not the first, perhaps the second to kind of wake up after Mr. Edwards, as FDR looks around and kind of struggles to stand as he sees you coming towards him, and he says, "Miss O'Callahan, what's going on?"
Well, Mr. President, were you not able to see any of that?
I saw nothing.
Mr. President, you need to evacuate immediately. There is a very, very real risk to you and to everyone else here. And I'm looking around for Secret Service. Is there anybody else who looks like they can help him get out of there?
He's capable of moving out himself, as he kind of puts his hand on your forearm in a measure of thanks for your concern, as he is also concerned for you. And he locks eyes with you for a second and says, "I don't know what's going on, Kate, but America needs all of you. Everything that Kilgrave said is true. get out of here.
Does Greta hear that? No.
No, this is in
He was
confidence with
totally
Kate.
gonna chime in and be like, I need a lab.
Well, yes, sir, Mr. President. I will. Is there some kind of way we can contact you? We're all on our own out here.
I'll send someone around.
Yes, sir. Good luck, sir.
He moves off, and for
Does
the
he
sake
pass
of
by Greta at all? Because I want to be standing there holding a chunk of like lizard man brain and be like, I require a lab.
as he moves by, he looks at the brain that is in a champagne glass, stares at it for a moment, stares back at Greta, stares at it for a moment, stares back at Greta, and he says, I think you need one. And he leaves through the side. For the sake of narrative, what we're going to do is we're going to fast forward after Mr. Edwards expertly. This guy's awesome. Drives through New York City perfectly. I mean, no red lights. The guy he's amazing. This guy.
Roll a
is
drive
Mr.
check, Greg.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna crit
Does he
it.
beat
You know
Greta's
why?
Autobahn driving away from Mr. Castile?
No, it wasn't that good. He's
Okay.
good. He's getting a little older at this point, though.
Oh, this is in the future.
Yeah. So as you all, we're going to quit back to the Ives Esoteric and Antiquarian Bookstore, and you're all in there. Mr. Edwards is there. The Olympians are there. Sabella's asleep, but we do have Jack, who has been returned to the bed upstairs, and I think it
Why
is.
did people keep moving him? I put him by the door for a reason.
Well, he's back upstairs, and what we are going to do here is we are going to go to the bedside of Jack Kilgrave as Pete Abraham walks into the room.
So, one of my early voters. So, Pete kind of goes and walks in, and he looks similar to how he would have looked in his younger days as he stood in a headmaster's office during one of his many visits at which he talked himself out of trouble. And he would pull up a chair and he would sit next to Jack, and he would simply say, "Hello, Jack. Not sure you can hear me in there, but it's me. It's Pete. And it seems Barney and May, you know, I haven't spoken to them in years, but well, they brought back the new crew. And I got to say, from what I've seen, seems to be a pretty good group you've assembled there. You know, Jack, we parted on not the best of terms. And since I left, I quit the Olympians. I've lived a large life. I have eaten well. I've obviously drank plenty and took part in a life that many people could only hope of. I've been a lawyer, an alderman, and I'm not sure after today, but a candidate for mayor. Attended parties, rubbed elbows with big stars and powerful politicians. But as quick as you can rise to the heights of our beautiful city's penthouses, you can fall. Whether bad press, bad reviews, or bad fortune. New York City politics, social life is not the place for friends. It's where you surround yourself with sycophants and phonies, as I have, as really I am. However, there was a time, Jack, a time when I had true friends. I was an Olympian. Barnabas Norwood, Mae Young, and you, Jack. It seems odd speaking those names. I haven't uttered them in years and thought they'd never leave my lips again. You know, they saved me. And it seems they also saved your new crew. There was a reason for that, because they were needed and they did what they needed. And they would have done the same for me. but I wasn't with him. And I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry I couldn't help him. And he would stand up at this point and ask for Jack to forgive him. And he would take Jack's hand in a handshake that he has given thousands of voters and greased palms that you wouldn't believe in order to secure votes, and given thousands of unfulfilled campaign promises. But this time, with truth and with purpose, he would say, I'm going to bring them home, Jack. I promise you. If I know Barney and May, they still have a good fight left in them. And with that, I would place his hand on his chest, and I would place a Vote Pete pin in the lapel of his coat.
And ladies and gentlemen, Olympians of all ages, that's where we're going to end part 1 of the Pete Abraham story, to be continued tomorrow night when Pete and the Olympians, minus Sabella, go after Project Kronos. May and Barney, we're coming for you. Had a fantastic time tonight. I'm going to go directly to Allison. Allison, what'd you think?
Oh my God, that was fantastic. Finney, welcome to the team, man. You brought it. I loved it. Loved every second.
Thank you.
Cannot wait for there to be a little bit more of that interplay, because you add a really interesting personality and an interesting dynamic to this group. So really excited about tomorrow night. As always, Lindy Strider, it's so much fun to get to play with you. I wish we would have had a little more opportunity to kind of do our thing, but we need another bonus episode, Greg. Okay, good. I just want to make sure I put that out there. And love the whole scenario, Greg. It was really good stuff. Chat, thanks so much for being a part of this. Thanks for taking some time on your Saturday night to hang out with us. Love you all. Until tomorrow night, you can find me on Twitter. I'll probably tweet 400 times between now and tomorrow night at Allison Robinson with 2 L's and a Y. Catch me on the Godsfall podcast on WonderQuest as well. A solo Astra Dane episode coming up on WonderQuest. So look for that. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
Fantastic. So let's go over to Elijah. Mr. Strider, how did your boy do tonight? I thought he did well, and he saw maybe some hints of the past.
Man, my hamster is running and the cogs in my head are spinning. I'm still trying to figure out that whole "you're my children" line. That was creepy. Though exactly what I expected. Greg's taking this whole hipster dad thing way too far. Yes, it is fantastic. I'm going to be running a Star Wars D&D campaign on Wednesday on Encounter Roleplay. I'm going to be playing on Scraticus's channel on Thursday for a one-shot. And, of course, Sunday I will be here tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll be able to use many more silly voices, because I haven't gotten a chance to talk to Pete yet, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, buddy. Awesome. Lindy, what'd you think?
Super awesome. Oh my gosh, I loved it. I was eating it up. It was so good. The speeches and the politics and everything. It was very well done. Oh, I was just enthralled. Greta is trying to learn about American politics and basically learned that she should just keep her mouth shut in this kind of environment. Like, don't let them hear the German. Like, this could be bad. So she just smiled and nodded, just practiced. So she learned that from Mr. Soy there, just to smile and nod. And I got to brawl for the first time. I think that's the first time Greta's really attacked anybody in this campaign, except for her introduction, when she stuck him with the syringe. But that was really cool, really exciting. I can't wait for tomorrow night to see what all this creepy purple stuff is gonna do with us, and it'll be fun. There's also a nice little note on Sabella's icebox now that says, "Brain matter, do not open." And the champagne glass is just sitting in there.
Not moose, right? All right, Lindy. Did you tell us where you can find us or where we can find you and all that good stuff?
I didn't say that at all. I was was just so enamored with tonight's episode. Man, it was awesome. I loved it. We need more of these. Yeah, you can find me online on Twitch and Twitter at LaughLoveLindy. I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu. Tomorrow night, Call of Cthulhu every Sunday night. Tuesdays, Tomes and Tentacles podcast with this guy for, because it's super awesome and we love Cthulhu. Also Tuesday nights, I'm running Out of the Abyss on my channel. Wednesday afternoons, Call of Cthulhu on Encounter Roleplay's channel. Soon, also, Star Wars RPG with Strider DMing, and it's going to be super awesome. I know, it's super exciting. I think I'm also playing on Straticus's channel. I can speak this Thursday. And then Thursday evening on WebDM Show, I'm playing on there. And then Friday on the Greyhawk channel, running Tomb of Horrors, and it's super exciting. And then maybe something on Saturday, I don't remember.
Nice. I was going to say you're about halfway through. Keep going.
It's only 30 hours a week, Greg. It's fine.
Right. Absolutely. Finney, my friend, I mirror what Allison said. Welcome to the crew. You have done a fantastic job. Pete is already alive and well in the pantheon of the Olympians. I told you his story would take 2 episodes. I can tell you this right now, it's going to take way more than that. What do you think of tonight, my friend?
First of all, just an amazing group of people to play with here. I had a blast. It was so much fun. I think to utter the words that Dwight generally uses, follow all these people. They're all amazing. And it was a blast. And I definitely have to do a thank you to the chat. I don't know if Pete would have been nearly as successful without the help of the chat and those pocket crits that were provided.
His voters.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
His voters came through for him.
See, bribes work.
Right. Everybody, make sure you follow Finney. I put his Twitter tag in there.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have an
At
official one.
Flathagen or Flathagen, depending on your choice of pronunciation. Works for me.
Right. Everybody follow him up and join us tomorrow night when we continue the story, as there are several avenues open to both Pete and the Olympians in their quest to find May and Barney as the journey to nowhere returns. As for me, you can find me on Mondays on Encounter Roleplay, where I do a little Call of Cthulhu at 4:30. We're finishing up the French Revolutionary Reign of Terror, and we're going to be starting the 1950s Atomic Cthulhu, which is pre-Fallout greasers, soda pop jerks, and other crazy shit. Tome and Tentacles. Eisenhower, right. Same thing. And so in addition to that, on this channel, starting later this month, on the 27th, Friday the 27th from 2 to 4, we go back to the big damn verse of Joss Whedon as we return to Firefly. Pumped about that, but ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Olympians of all ages, please take care of yourselves here in 2018, but it's only for a brief period of time, because we can return to 1933 tomorrow. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. If you're watching on Twitch, good night to you all. We love you. And until tomorrow, take it easy.